Hello everyone, I am the Canadian Gaming Penguin. On Friday, November 5th or Saturday, November 6th, depending on your time zone, the Letter from the Producer Live Part 67 was presented by producer and director Naoki Yoshida, aka Yoshi-P. As per usual, Toshio Motoruchi, aka Foxglon, acted as MC, while Amy provided the English interpretation of Yoshi-P and later on Masayoshi Soken. So, the start of the live letter brought us with somewhat bad news. I say somewhat because it could have been significantly worse news than it was. That said, the release of Endwalker has been delayed by 2 weeks. Thus, the early access of Endwalker will not be until December 3rd, 2021, while the official release will not be until December 7th, 2021. This also changes the schedule for a few other things, but I will get to that in a little bit, and again towards the end of the video. Now, why has Endwalker's release been delayed? Rather than summarizing what was said in the live letter, I will instead read out the letter that we have been given by Yoshi-P on the lodestone. This letter is essentially a word-for-word statement that was said during the live letter anyways. That said, let's read the letter. Greetings Final Fantasy XIV players, this is producer and director Naoki Yoshida. First and foremost, I would like to extend my thanks to everyone playing Final Fantasy XIV and looking forward to our upcoming expansion pack, Endwalker. However, it is with great regret that I must inform you of some unfortunate news just before our scheduled launch date, and I would like you to read the following in full. Postponing the release of Endwalker. I'm incredibly sorry to share this so close to launch, but I have decided to postpone the release of Endwalker. The original release date was scheduled for Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021, but I have decided to delay the release by 2 weeks. As such, the expansion pack will now be released on Tuesday, December 7th, 2021. There are several reasons for the postponement, but as I'm the one overseeing all aspects of the title as the head of the project, the responsibility falls solely on me. Allow me to convey my sincerest apologies to our players, our warriors of light around the world, who have been looking so forward to the release of Endwalker. I am truly sorry. The new schedule, including early access, is outlined below. Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, official release Tuesday, December 7th, 2021, start of early access Friday, December 3rd, 2021, patch 6.01, scheduled release Tuesday, December 21st, 2021, patch 6.05, scheduled release Tuesday, January 4th, 2022. Reasons for schedule change. The biggest factor behind the release date change was my own selfishness as the game's director. Ever since I was placed in charge of the original Final Fantasy XIV, I've continued the development and operations for Final Fantasy XIV over the past 11 years, while always endeavoring to balance my position as the producer overseeing the project and the director in charge of development. It was my intention to work in this same manner as we approached the final stages of Endwalker's development. As I have mentioned previously in interviews and during live streams, Endwalker will be the largest expansion pack in the history of Final Fantasy XIV. It has been a huge undertaking, but we proceeded with development following plans that would allow us to make it in time for the originally scheduled release date, although admittedly everything would be downright to the wire. However, as we neared the end of development and I played through everything from quests to battle content and the like, I just couldn't contain my desire to further improve Endwalker's quality, specifically because this expansion pack marks the first major culmination of events in Final Fantasy XIV so far. Even as we look beyond Endwalker, the Final Fantasy XIV story will continue for a long time, and we hope to deliver many more enjoyable experiences in the game. However, it was precisely because Endwalker concludes the first major saga that I felt our team needed to push ourselves to the limits that I envisioned. As a result, we remained firmly resolved to adjust down to the smallest nuances and ensure our writing covers even the finest points of the vast and intricate story that has spanned these past 11 years since the original Final Fantasy XIV, to ensure that everyone can fully enjoy their adventure in Endwalker. Unfortunately, the consequence of this was that we ended up in a situation where we cut into the time required for final quality assurance checks due to this time spent on additional improvements. At this rate, there was a bigger risk of us reaching the release date without ensuring stability as one form of quality, and for that reason I have decided to postpone the release at this time. As we also anticipate large amounts of congestion across all game worlds, I felt that even in this respect, it wouldn't be right for us to release the expansion while lacking adequate stability. I am truly sorry. When I look at my own career, up until now I have never postponed a previously announced release date, although I did once shift a release from spring to early summer, and when I also considered that many players had already made arrangements such as taking days off work in preparation for the original release date, I was incredibly torn between whether or not we should cut down the expansion pack's volume or even release content in installments. As such, I humbly ask you all to forgive me for the decision I've made. Final remarks and looking toward the future. While we have postponed the release date by 2 weeks, I believe we have been able to successfully depict Endwalker's story because we set forth on this long journey developing and operating Final Fantasy XIV together with the players. While we will require a little longer until the expansion pack's release, please rest assured that we will continue investing every ounce of our strength into development and operations in order to deliver an immersive adventure to our players. Once more, I would like to convey my sincerest apologies for the inconvenience caused to our players and colleagues due to my own shortcomings. I sincerely apologize for this decision. We will continue to do our utmost to bring you the best experience not only in Endwalker, but also through further updates and content that will follow, restoring your trust one step at a time. Naoki Yoshida, Final Fantasy XIV producer and director. I will also add that Yoshi-P stated that the decision of postponement was made last Friday, so a very late decision, and he apologized for that too. He also stated that he understands and realizes that this may have broken trust with some players. I am not one of those players. I would much rather a delay in the release than a rushed release or reduced content or content in installments. If they need the time to quality check things, I would much rather wait for that, especially since we know that congestion is going to be an issue right from the start, even though they've been trying to tackle it, but I mean, there's only so much you can do. Anyways, so as the letter mentioned the scheduling changes, I'll rehash that again. On December 3rd, 2021, patch 6.0 will be released, aka Endwalker, which starts the Endwalker Early Access launch period. On December 7th, 2021, the Endwalker expansion will officially release. On December 21st, 2021, patch 6.01 will be released, and in this patch will be the Raid Pandemonium, the normal mode of it. On January 4th, 2022, patch 6.05 will be released. With this patch, the Savage version of Pandemonium will be available, along with the new Elegant Tomestones, the ones with a weekly cap. Additionally, new gear will be added. Obviously. Yoshi-P took the time during the live letter to apologize to all the raiders and their statics that had likely made schedules based on the original release dates. Big oof. Yoshi-P also, who was reading the comments on the various platforms, reassured us that the schedule changes would not affect the staff holidays, etc., as there were comments being concerned about whether or not they would have a proper holiday and all that because of the dates of the patches. Anyways, next on the schedule of the live letter was watching the launch trailer for Endwalker. We first saw the Japanese version and then saw it again, but with commentary over top. After the first viewing of the trailer, the different versions based on language were released for viewing. I didn't take the time to watch it at the time, although they gave us time to watch it because I was note-taking during the live stream. Anyways, it was during one of the breaks later on in the live stream that the English version of the trailer was played, so I was able to see it then. I have since only watched it once, as I was wanting to get this video out as soon as possible, and I'll probably be watching it at least a dozen times between now and December 3rd. Especially once I have this video out. Next in the live letter, we had a recap of what's to come in patch 6.0, along with some additional information of some of the previously announced content. So, to summarize, coming with patch 6.0, new cities and areas such as Old Sharlayan, Radzat-Han, Labyrinthos, Thavnair, Garlemald, Mare Lamentorum, and the nameless Skyplace, which still looks pretty. And we weren't allowed to know the name because apparently it's a spoiler, and we weren't allowed to be shown other pictures because spoiler! Anyways, while talking about Thavnair, Yoshi-P mentioned on how proud he is about how the sky turned out in that area, and that he hopes that players will return to that area after finishing with the story to enjoy and take screenshots of the sky, area, etc. He also mentioned that there is a particular area that looks over Radzat-Han, and that it's a really good spot for screenshots. And as someone who loves the different landscapes and environments of the game, I'm excited to see just what Yoshi-P means. Anywho. Also coming with patch 6.0 is obviously new main scenario quests. Then we were reminded of key characters in the Endwalker story, such as Thancred, Y'shtola, Urianger, Elfino, Alice, Grahatia, Tataru, and there were jokes in the chat saying that Tataru is going to be the final boss, Kryl, Estinian, Xenos, and the Lady of the Light. Each image gives a brief description of the characters, or at least what we know of them, as you may have seen. Rather than reading these out, I will leave them for you to read if you so choose to do so. You can also find this and the information on them, on the various key characters, on the special site, which I will mention later as well. Then we were introduced to a new system where the NPCs may follow the Warrior of Light during certain quests. They will, however, turn back if you stray too far from the target area. This system is also part of the storyline, so you will not be able to pick and choose who follows you, etc. I think Yoshi-P also said that the NPCs would also ride on mounts along with you, or something like that. At any rate, cool! I think you can also see something like this in the launch trailer, or at least it looks like some of the Scions were following the Warrior of Light. Next, we were reminded about the role quests, that there are 5 quest lines, one for each tank, healer, melee DPS, physical ranged DPS, and magical ranged DPS. There will also be extra quests for completing all 5 quest lines, which will be added in 6.1 or later. Unlike with Shadowbringers, where one role quest line was mandatory to complete the main scenario quest, the role quests will not be mandatory in Endwalker. It is, however, recommended to do them as you go along the main scenario quest, as the role quest storylines will follow along with the main scenario quest to some degree, similar to how it worked with Shadowbringers. We were also given new information about jobs, that there will be no level 90 job quests. The level 80 quests are being treated as the conclusion to the story of the jobs, at least at this time. We were then told about Studium Deliveries, which involved Disciple of the Hand and Disciple of the Land, or your crafting and your gathering. Much like with the battle role quests, there will be 5 quest lines for Disciple of the Hands and Disciple of the Land. They will be divided into these categories, much like with the Crystarium Deliveries. Blacksmith, Armorer, Goldsmith, Carpenter, Leatherworker, Weaver, Alchemist, Culinarian, Botanist, Miner, and Fisher. Also, like with the battle role quests, there will be extra quests for completing the 5 quest lines. I don't know about you, but I'm excited about these. Also coming with patch 6.0 are new dungeons and new trials. The first trial, of course, still remains a secret. Spoilers! There will be normal and hard versions of the trials, and the comment section thought that we might be getting a Tataru Extreme, or even Camp Westwind Extreme, Ultimate, or Savage of some sort. We'll also be getting the new raid dungeon, Pandemonium Asphodelos, in patch 6.01, and Pandemonium Asphodelos, assuming I'm saying that name right, Savage, in patch 6.05, as mentioned previously. Yoshi-P then showed us a bit of some of the area of Pandemonium, and it looks pretty cool. And next we got to see a floor. Yes, a floor. This particular floor is of the new treasure dungeon, the Excitatron 6000, which will be available in patch 6.05. The reason why it's a screenshot of the floor? Because it was spoiler-free. Yoshi-P didn't want to show a screenshot with the surrounding area because it would have spoilers, apparently. So, the floor. It's at least a very pretty floor at that. Anyways, next up, PvP news. There will be a new small-scale PvP content called Crystal Conflict, which will be coming with 6.1. Additionally, there will be a new reward system also coming in patch 6.1. Crystal Conflict will be a 5 vs 5 team competition with short matches with simple rules that can be played casually. With this new PvP, there won't be role-based matching and actions. Players will be able to do all the necessary actions for themselves, including healing. Additionally, there will be distinctive PvP actions and job-specific adrenaline rushes. As an example, Dragoon is known for its jumping. A jumping ability of some sort, or an equivalent to it, will be available in some way. Each 5-player team will be formed of 5 different jobs with no role restrictions. The Crystal Conflict will have casual, ranked, and custom matches available. The matchmaking will be skill-based. To explain how the Crystal Conflict PvP works, we were shown a number of screenshots that explain the process, so I'll be going through that now. First, we have the 2 different teams. Each team has its own base on opposite ends of the map. The objective is to claim the crystal in the center. Once claimed, the team that claimed the crystal can begin to move it towards the opponent's territory. If that team is successful in getting the crystal to the goal point, they win. I'd say that's pretty simple. That said, we were told that there are gimmicks or mechanics that will trigger while moving the crystal, so the process of getting the crystal to the goal isn't as simple as it sounds. We were also shown a few maps of the Crystal Conflict. This one looks like it could be in the Sea of Clouds, while this one looks like it could be in the Ruby Sea. The next screenshot shows one of the gimmicks that can occur during the match. I don't recommend roasting marshmallows near that. There were also comments about how, gee, we wonder if it was inspired by a certain game that Yoshi-P worked on previously earlier in his career, which apparently was a Bomberman game that I didn't know about. Also a fan of Bomberman games. Anyway, side note there. Next, Yoshi-P talked about the season rewards, which would work somewhat differently than how the current PvP system works. With this newer version of the season rewards, there would be ranking rewards based on placement and ranking rewards based on tiers. As a player accumulates points, they will be rewarded with titles, achievements, and other accolades. Thus, there is a plan to have a PvP reward system overhaul. Series, a tentative name, will be added. During a series, players may earn series rewards by participating in any PvP content during each series. As shown in this diagram, a season will involve the Crystal Conflict only and may be shorter than a series. A series involves all PvP content. As for how the series will work, we were also given a diagram. Players will be able to earn rewards by accumulating series experience and raising their series level. Special tokens, indicated by the diamond, will be awarded by increasing your series level. Gear, mounts, and other items indicated by the star will be awarded for reaching certain series levels. When a new series begins, your series level will reset to level 1, and the reward lineup will change. Now, what are these special tokens for? These special tokens can be exchanged for various rewards. Earned tokens will carry over to the next series, and previous series' rewards will eventually be available via token exchange. So, if you weren't able to increase your series level high enough during a particular series, and thus missed out on a reward, you will eventually be able to get that reward via token exchange. As I've never played Final Fantasy XIV PvP, I thus don't really know much about the ranking system, or the reward system for that matter. I am a fan of other games, however, that have had this series or season type structure, and in fact, a few of the mobile games that I play have a similar system to this. Anyways, next up with PvP related news, although it might not be exclusive to PvP as we were told, it is called the character card system, although the PowerPoint slide calls it a calling card. I think that was a mistake on the slide, or at least I hope so, because character card sounds a lot better and makes more sense than calling card. Anyways, the character card, or calling card, feature will allow for customization of profiles displayed before a match begins. This will potentially be used outside of PvP as well as an addition to the profile that displays in the player search window. They are also looking at making background and profile customization options as rewards throughout the game, including as rewards in seasons and series. Yoshi-P said that they will likely take a section of a future live letter to go into more details about this once it's fleshed out more and when it's closer to being added to the game, etc. Finally, we get to the feast. As of patch 6.1, the feast will no longer be available. Yoshi-P thanked those that have participated in the feast for as long or as short of time as they have, and hope that those players will continue to support the devs with the new PvP system and will enjoy the Crystal conflict. With that said, pre-season play for the feast will still be available from patch 6.0 to patch 6.1. Additionally, wolf collars will still be obtainable and tradable, so there is no reason to discard them. And that's it for the PvP related information we were given. Moving on to crafting and gathering adjustments. As was mentioned in the previous live letter, high quality items will no longer be obtainable. We were given a little more information about this with this live letter, such as Disciple of the Land quests that currently require high quality items will be updated to accept both high quality and normal quality items. The high quality item delivery bonus for Disciple of the Land will be removed and base rewards improved. Actions that affected high quality yields when gathering will be adjusted. The requirements for achievements that involve gathering high quality items will be updated so that they can still be completed. Crafting adjustments include new actions being added and current existing actions will be adjusted. Recipe progress and quality values will be adjusted in accordance with value downscaling across the board. And along with these two changes, further adjustments will be made so that the difficulty of crafting high-quality items will not increase significantly in 6.0. Mining and botany adjustments include new actions being added and current existing actions being adjusted. The name of perception will be adjusted in some languages, but not in English as the word in English fits. Yeah. A greater perception heightens the chance of triggering Gatherer's Boon, which increases yield by 1. Actions that increase the probability of obtaining high-quality items will be replaced with actions that increase the probability of Gatherer's Boon. And fishing changes includes new actions being added and existing actions will be adjusted. A large-sized fish will appear in place of high-quality fish, and action descriptions will be adjusted to reflect this change. Perception will affect fish collectability. Spearfishing will also see some adjustments. It will be like a minigame. Upon locating teeming waters, players will now directly utilize their harpoon to catch fish for greater immersion. Rather than just describing what the spearfishing changes were, Yoshi-P demonstrated this, and as it's pretty quick, I'll show that bit here too.
はい、そしてですね、漁師もう一つあってですね、一つ漁を回収させていただいております。はい。
And then there's one more thing with fishing, and that is adjustments to spearfishing.
スクリーンショットをご覧ください。
We take a look at the screenshot.
見てわかる通り、BGM にしました。
As you can see, it has become a mini game of sorts.
まあ、 まあ見たらわかるってこう感じなんですけど、一応実機でご紹介します。
So, I mean, I'm sure the image is self-explanatory, but I would like to show it off on actual gameplay.
ちょっと待ってね。
はい。
One moment, sorry.
はい、では
はい、画面お願いします。Switch to PC, please. はい。
懐かしいですね、この安らぐ。
和みますね。
Brings back memories.
おたまトーンかな。
アクセスするとまあもう開くので、こうシンプルですよ。
もうぐさっ
Very simple. Once you access the spearfishing point, it opens up that window and just stab.
本当にミニゲームですね。
これでもね、こ
楽しそう
の最中に使うアクションとかもあるんで、
なるほど。
はい、警戒度を下げてより多く釣るとか、はい、シンプルなんですけど、まあアクションも使い回しながらやっていくっていう感じですね。はい。もうなんか。
But yeah, I mean, it's very simple, but there are actions specific to when that window opens up. And so, like, for example, you have to kind of lower their defenses so that it's easier for you to go in and stab, etc.
まあこれね、地味に、
はい、
うまくやりたくなるやつです。はい。
I think it's pretty addicting. You want to kind of continue playing so that you get better at it.
そうですね。シンプルなやつ危ないですよね。
そうなんですよ。結構チェックしてるときにイラつきました。
ってなる。
そう。
Yeah, I can understand this type of simple game will be very addictive.
For sure. Like, I was checking the screen myself and I was like, oh my gosh, I got hooked myself.
結構ね、手応えちゃんと出るようにね、タイミングとかね、UI とか調整、ミニゲームだからこそちゃんとやりましたんで、ぜひですね、一つ量大きく変わりましたので、よろしくお願いします。
But yeah, I think the gameplay feel does have that sort of significant tactical feeling almost, where you have to gauge timing, and the UI was something that we kind of put a lot of effort into. So yeah, it is quite an overhaul, the spearfishing. So I hope people will try it out.
もうだってさ、もうフィールド上の漁場にアクセスした後、泳いでる魚影を森でつく直感的な操作方法に変更ってもう文章より絵見たらわかるっていうね。そうですね。
I mean, like, instead of like reading it off, like, upon locating teeming waters, players will now directly utilize their harpoon to catch fish for greater immersion. I mean, I understand it's wonderful text, but like, you know, it's much more easier to explain it with visual reference here.
And now, after seeing that in action, apart from the screenshot, which you could see, obviously, and kind of get an idea for it, it made me super excited to actually see this change for spearfishing, and I can definitely see myself being addicted to playing the minigame. This might be a bad thing. Anyway, moving on to Leve reward adjustments. The amount of gil rewarded per Leve quest will be adjusted in light of gil inflation. Specifically, the experience and gil rewarded by tradecraft and fishing leaves requiring a large number of items are currently too high and will be reduced. The experience and gil rewarded by certain other leaves will be increased. Yoshi-P also noted that the experience values may appear reduced in some cases, as experience downscaling will be implemented concurrently. After a short break, Yoshi-P then went into details about these system adjustments. First on the list was the required and earned XP downscaling. This next bit is important to pay attention to. All classes and jobs, retainers, trust NPCs will be affected. The time, number of duty clears, etc. required to level will remain unchanged. Now, this next bit is super important. In order to implement the downscaling of values, the database must be overwritten. As a result, any experience accumulated between levels prior to the release of 6.0 will be reset to 0. Meaning, if you're halfway to level 60, for example, you will lose all the experience progress and have 0 experience at level 59, meaning you would have to reaccumulate the experience to reach level 60. Thus, it is recommended to try to get your classes, jobs, retainers, trust NPCs, etc. to the next level if possible before patch 6.0. Of course, if you don't really care about the experience loss, then this should be of no concern to you. Yoshi-P took more time to explain why the accumulated experience couldn't be stored and then adjusted, as there's just way too many numbers that would have to be recalculated, checked, saved, etc. It will require a shutdown of the game for a lengthy amount of time. Translated, Amy was saying about 3 weeks. So, not really doable. There will be more information about this on the Lodestone at some point. As of this recording, it's not currently available. Anywho, other system changes include elegant tomestones. The elegant tomestones of aphorism, I'm probably not saying that right, and the elegant tomestones of astronomy will be added. The elegant tomestones of astronomy will be added 4 weeks after the release of 6.0, thus around the Savage Raid time period. The tomestones of poetics will be remaining, and some comments were saying things like, we should change the name to Tomestones of Forever! Anywho, some of you may be happy to know that there is also changes to the number of tomestones required for weapon exchange. It will be reduced from 1,000 to 500. Most of that is moot to me, as I've never done any of the Savage content anyways, so I don't usually get those weapons. At this point, we got to see some examples of the different tomestone gear, etc. In other news, Yoshi-P said that they were working on getting more hairstyles for this female Vierra and the Hrothgar in general. However, the Hrothgar hairstyles will not be ready until 6.1. Yoshi-P reiterated that the Vierra and Hrothgar systems were designed in such a way that it made it challenging for the implementation of different hairstyles, and that they had said that the hairstyles would be limited in the first place. That said, Yoshi-P stated that they've been making improvements to the systems and are thus ready with more female hairstyles for Vierra, and more hairstyles for both genders of Hrothgar once the female version of Hrothgar is also available. And as they were developing the male Vierra, they had this in mind already, and the design of male Vierra is also quite different than the female Vierra, so yeah. Anyways, Yoshi-P showed us a few examples of the female Vierra hairstyle that will be coming. Now for some miscellaneous changes coming to the game. Other changes will be new scripts, purple crafter scripts, and purple gatherer scripts. The achievement UI will be updated, and it will look more like a journal of sorts. The idea behind that is that the Warrior of Light is journaling entries of their achievements throughout the world of Heidelin, etc., or I guess about through whatever. Anyway, Yoshi-P gave us a little sample of this, apart from the screenshot, but he couldn't show us too much because he didn't want to accidentally give us spoilers. There's also going to be a near completion and recommended tabs added to the journal achievement UI, rather. We will now be able to use G-pose while playing an instrument. Woot woot! Not that I've ever wanted to do this, but woot woot all the same. The company action back on your feet will be replaced with an action that extends sprint duration within cities. If my research shows me back on your feet, which I wasn't sure what it was at the time during the live stream, is when you get revived, the weakness debuff will be lessened with the back on your feet thing, but instead it will now be a sprint duration. Items containing a random minion or mount will be added to the Grand Company Seal Exchange. I'm curious to know exactly what this means, and which minions or mounts we might get. They're very vague about it, too. And Yoshi-P did mention that it's not necessarily true that you'll get a minion or a mount. You might end up getting something like a firecracker or something like that. And so that made me even more curious. So yeah, it also makes me wonder if we're going to have more Guild Grand Company updates. Would be nice if we did. Anyways, The next portion of the live letter brought the composer and sound director for Final Fantasy XIV, Masayoshi Soken, out to help explain how the Immerse spatial audio produced by Embody works, as we were told that support for Embody's Immerse spatial audio will be added to the game on the Windows platform only. Immerse Spatial Audio is an original sound add-on produced by Embody that brings 360-degree personalized spatial audio to the world of Final Fantasy XIV. In summary, a person takes a picture of their right ear, sends it to Embody, Embody's AI algorithms then analyzes the person's ear shape and understands how sound changes as it enters the person's eardrum. That information then is used to calibrate a personalized spatial sound for that individual. Once that's done, the individual can download their personalized profile, grab their headset, enable the Immerse spatial audio in the system configuration within the game, and then play away with 360-degree spatial audio. Woo! It actually does sound pretty cool, and I'll get to that in just a second. To help explain this process, there is a short video produced by Embody with a guest appearance of Soken-san. If you're curious to hear how it sounds in Final Fantasy XIV, Embody also has a tech demo of the Immerse spatial audio, and I have to say it sounds pretty cool, even without headphones on. And obviously not customized to my ears specifically, but yeah. And you can find both videos via the URL that Square Enix provided us, which is on the PowerPoint slide that you're seeing currently. This said, in order to enable Immerse spatial audio, players must first purchase a license from Embody's website and install the game pack. This is a one-time purchase. The add-on can then be enabled from the in-game system configuration settings, as I mentioned before. And now, if you're hesitant to purchase this as you're not sure how it sounds, worry not. There is a 14-day free trial that begins with the Endwalker Early Access. Holy crap, Mr. Yuki scared the bejabbers out of me. I'll just bring up the PowerPoint slide here, and as it says, Immerse Game Pack for Final Fantasy XIV, with Endwalker Early Access, 14 days free trial begins. Pre-purchase begins with 2 major benefits. 1, save 20% on all orders. I'm not entirely sure what that means specifically. I'm assuming if you order more than 1 or something. And 2, early experience before official release. And note, this is a one-time purchase, which isn't on the PowerPoint slide, but that is when Yoshi-P said it, so I'm going to rehash that again here. And then with patch 6.05, the official release of the Immerse Game Pack for Final Fantasy XIV will be there. And the price is approximately $20 for North Americans, or well, US dollar. So for me, that's roughly $25, assuming there's no tax, but there probably is going to be. Anyways, about $25 given the exchange rate from US dollar to Canadian dollar, at least at this time. Which isn't too bad, all things considered. And I don't know about any of you, but I will be at least trying this out, probably first as the free trial. Anywho, after a few closing remarks, Soken-san said goodbye, and then we had some technical difficulties, so there was a short break. After the short break, we were given more information about the housing update coming with 6.0 and 6.1. As we already know, there will be a new housing district in Ishgard. This will be called Imperium. The area will be based on the firmament and will have 24 wards with 24 subdivisions. We will be able to tour around in Imperium in patch 6.0, with land being purchasable in patch 6.1. Now comes for changes to the way housing plots are purchased. Firstly, relocation to land that is not yet ready for purchase will no longer be available as of patch 6.0. Land devaluation will be removed in 6.1. It will no longer be possible to grant brand new Free Company members authorization to purchase land or the rank of Free Company Master, also in patch 6.1. A lottery system will be implemented, again, patch 6.1. Now, how will this lottery system work? There will be 2 different ways, depending on if you're purchasing for yourself or a private plot, or for a free company. To enter the lottery for a private plot, aka purchasing for yourself, a character must have at least one class or job at level 50 or above. Character must hold the Grand Company rank of 2nd Lieutenant or above. And another character on the same service account must not own a plot on the same world, though you may enter the lottery for the purpose of relocating to a new plot. And it's noted, or as a note, in order to purchase a plot in Imperium or Shirogane, players must first complete the main scenario quest Litany of Peace and Not Without Incident, respectively. To enter the lottery for a free company plot, the character must be a member of a free company with authorization to purchase and relinquish land. The free company must have at least 4 members and be rank 6 or above. Another character on the same service account must not own as a buyer on an free company plot on the same world, though you may enter the lottery for the purpose of relocating to a new plot. And it's also noted again in here that in order to purchase a plot in Imperium or Shirogane, players must first complete the main scenario quest Litany of Peace and Not Without Incident, respectively. The lottery schedule will be shared across all worlds and housing areas. The lottery period will last several days, and players can view a plot's placard and enter the lottery, which they will then receive an entry number. Following the end of the lottery period will begin the land acquisition period, which will also last several days. The winning number will be decided, and winners must claim possession of the land. During this time period, the next lottery entry period will also begin. And during a lottery period, each player may only enter the lottery for one plot of land during each lottery period. A lottery entry will take place at each MP plot's placard, where players can view the number of entrants, and players must pay the full price of the plot upon entry. Unsuccessful players will be refunded in full, and players cannot withdraw after entering a lottery. So, make sure you pick which plot you want carefully before entering a lottery. During the land acquisition period, the winning entrant can be confirmed via the plot's placard. Winners must claim possession of their land within this period, or it will be forfeit. And there's also a note that only 50% of the purchase price of forfeit land will be refunded. Players who do not win the lottery can receive a full refund within a limited time frame, and the time frame given is about 90 days, or that's what they said during the live stream, I believe, which personally I think is more than enough time to reclaim your gil. Yoshi-P also said that we'd have more information about this before patch 6.1, and if there is any additional information to share, they will obviously share it. Then we were shown a few pictures of a new housing cottage cafe thing. It's pretty, at any rate. Next, we had news about the Oceanian data center. The current plan is for it to open in February of 2022. The data center will be called Materia, and worlds on the Materia data center will be treated as new worlds with free world transfers and more bonuses available. Next, we had a recap of the new schedule, plus a bit of other information regarding the scheduling. On December 3rd, 2021, the Endwalker Early Access will begin. On December 7th, 2021, the Endwalker expansion will officially release. On December 21st, 2021, patch 6.01 will release. And on January 4th, 2022, patch 6.05 will release. Originally scheduled for the end of November, the All Saints' Wake event will be delayed until after the Starlight Celebration and Heaven's Turn events. Thus, I guess that it will likely not occur until sometime late January or early February. Part of the reason for this is because they wanted to have it as a bigger event than usual, including having an instance dungeon of some sort or something like that, and thus they want to wait until things have settled after the Endwalker launch, and then obviously they don't want to interrupt the scheduling for the Starlight Celebration and Heaven's Turn, so it makes more sense to just plop that somewhere else in a different part of the schedule. And then there were jokes in the chat talking about a Halloween event in January or February, so Yoshi-P responded with something along the lines of, I don't know what they're talking about. A Halloween event? Halloween? Halloween is a This World event. All Saints' Wake is an event in Heidelin. Fun. Hello, Editing Penguin here. I'd also like to add that after the live letter, a couple of days later, they had another Lodestone post regarding the schedule changes that would be affected because of the Endwalker's delayed release, hence the scheduling updates following the postponement of Endwalker's release. So here it says, regarding Endwalker pre-orders, we ask that you please contact your retailer directly. And the Adventure Jump Start sale, which is, I won't go into that, but basically the sale won't be extended. I'm not entirely sure why anybody would think that. But the Moogle Treasure Trove, the Hunt for Lore, which I mentioned later on in the video, does in fact continue for another 2 weeks, as it was always going to be ending when patch 6.0 was released, and obviously with a delay that means it's extended by 2 weeks. So they have a formal statement here saying, as previously announced, the event's scheduled to be available until the beginning of patch 6.0 maintenance, which is scheduled to begin at the start of early access. And then they also have a blurb about the seasonal event All Saints' Wake. With the postponement of the release of Endwalker, the All Saints' Wake seasonal event is scheduled to be held around late January 2022. The Starlight Celebration and Heaven's Turn are scheduled to be held during their usual timing, and further details regarding each event will be announced later. Anyways, I just wanted to include that bit in this video too. Now for the Editing Penguin to return to editing. Anyhow, the live letter then moved on to other announcements, one of which was the new date for Endwalker's release, which was already mentioned a few times. Yoshi-P will also be having a patch reading on December 2nd, 2021, but this will only be in Japanese, and there may also be a guest that appears if the schedule allows for this individual. We also saw a promo video of the Endwalker's 7-inch vinyl single. The vinyl will release on Wednesday, November 17th, 2021. Then we saw a couple of Japan-exclusive manga collab type of things that will be available, such as the Saki and Final Fantasy XIV manga Volume 1. And it's funny how this has existed for a while, because every time I think of Mahjong, I remind myself that I need to watch the Saki anime again, so it can help teach me of how to play Mahjong properly. I really like Mahjong in Final Fantasy XIV, but I don't really know how to play. Yet. I will know eventually. Just not now. Anyways, the other manga collab is a Final Fantasy XIV spin-off school manga series, Academia Eorzea. And why can't we have cool things like this outside of Japan? Even digitally would be fine. Well, it need to be translated first, and then digital. Anyways, one final note is that the Endwalker special site has also been updated to include some of which we saw during the live letter, including key characters, as you can see, and I actually like how they appear on the special site. And you can also see the images of all of these key characters in the, obviously here on this special site, but also in the media information, where you can see you have all the different characters here as well. It's basically the same images that you have here, except the full version of them. And you can also see that they have the descriptions of the various information on them as well. Anyways, rambling. Anyways, after a few closing remarks from Yoshi-P, that concluded the live letter. I will also note that, while not exclusively said in the live letter, this also means that the Moogle Treasure Trove, the Hunt for Lore event, will be continuing for an extra 2 weeks. As it is, the event's conclusion was to be upon the release of patch 6.0, so yeah. That makes me happy at any rate, because I'm nowhere near able to get to the jacket yet. I really need to get working on that. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say in this video. Thanks for watching, and/or listening.